What is up, party people? Welcome back to the Based Lesbian Podcast. I am your host, Kara, and with me is my lovely co-host, beautiful wife, Lee.
It's me again.
Oh my God.
Coming back at you.
Here we are. It is our second episode of the pod, and we're having a lot of fun with it, y'all.
We are. We're recording this the day after we recorded the first episode.
But to y'all, it'll be a week later. But hey, we're having fun. We hope y'all are too. Thanks for joining us if you listened to our first episode and you're coming back for more. We really appreciate it.
Word.
And don't forget to hit that like button, hit that comment, or make a comment. Hit the subscribe button and follow for all of our craziness. All right, so let's get into it.
All right.
Today, I thought we could talk about the LGBTQIA2S plus LMNOP alphabet mafia community that we are inadvertently a part of, but don't want any part of.
The GSA Alliance mob.
Yeah.
Right.
I figured we could talk about that, how it has devolved in our lifetime, in our short lifetime, and talk about the phenomena that we're seeing with women, specifically a lot of women. There's also a lot of men that are getting transed out, but a lot of women, namely gay, queer, bisexual, lesbian women, butches, getting transed out.
Yep.
I had a list of people that I've found that have started going by different gender identities, saying that they're trans. I've actually gotten the surgeries just in the last 2 to 4 years, which is pretty crazy. And there's a lot more that we aren't going to address today because we don't know everyone. I don't know all the celebrities, and I don't give a fuck. First of all.
Fuck celebrities.
For real. Fuck them. Fuck the elite. All right? But yeah, we're not going to talk about all of the people that have come out, but there's a lot of them, y'all. It's quite concerning. So we'll get to that later. And then whatever else we fucking feel like talking about. All right? So sit back, grab a snack, and hang out with us while we rant into the void.
Yep. Ranting commence.
All right, man. So we have seen this community go through a lot in the last few years. And I personally feel like it's really shifted since gay marriage became legal. And I don't know if it's because gay marriage was the catalyst for all of this insanity. I would like to think it's not, because then that just proves a lot of those alt-right conservatives back in the day that advocated for our right to not marry.
And are still advocating today in some areas.
Yes. I don't want to prove them right with the slippery slope theory, but at the same time, the slippery slope theory has come to fruition. And I think it's come to fruition because of our community, of the lack of gatekeeping that we mentioned in our prior episode, and how we have just allowed all these weirdos and predators to infiltrate the community for the sake of what? Love and acceptance.
Well, and we don't call them out on their bullshit either.
No, we don't.
Very obvious pedophiles. Very obvious weirdos who I guess just get a pass because they now seemingly identify as a woman, apparently.
Yeah. Just because they say it? I don't understand why we don't question people like that anymore. I feel like you and I grew up in a weird time where we would call people out on certain things, but then the older we got, we felt guilty for doing that. So then as a generation, we stopped all of it. We stopped bullying, which is good in some respects, right? And then we stopped just calling anybody out and just saying, you're being kind of ridiculous.
I know when we were in high school, there wouldn't be biologically male inmates raping and impregnating female inmates and getting away with it.
Just because they say they're trans.
Just because they say they're trans. Just because they marked off she on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
We need to protect this person's rights. Because they marked that off on a piece of paper instead of something else.
That is not what we fought for. And that's what is really
despicable.
baffling.
That's not, it's just, I can't even, why are we so fucking apathetic over something like that? That's, with women, I don't care if they're criminals. I don't care if they're murderers. I don't care if whatever they were doing. they don't deserve to be fucking raped. And just these men are getting away with it.
Do you think it's apathy, though? Or is it people just wanting to seem like they are the most compassionate and tolerant human beings on the planet? Because that's become sort of a currency now, is like, how radically compassionate are you?
This is something that I think we are apathetic on. Because I think this and trans kids, we are too apathetic on. Like, we realistically, in my mind, should be rioting over shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we should. We should be rioting over the women who are getting assaulted in prisons.
Guys, we became a country over a 3% tax.
Like, what are we doing?
We rioted over a lot less.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah.
When we had stones. You
can riot for BLM bullshit, but you can't actually riot for the rights of people. Like, of people who are getting actually harmed by this ideology, namely children and women. Like, I don't get that.
I don't either. So we let these people get a pass. That's the biggest, obvious, terrible example of we're just letting these people get a pass and they're awful people. Let's really get into the transing of lesbians.
Man.
Because as someone who I feel like probably dealt with a little bit of that myself, at least just with the gender stuff, it's happening much more often. I'm praising God every day Kristen Stewart remains just a biologically female lesbian.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because I feel like the clock is ticking on that one. But who knows?
I worry about that too. I worry about a lot of the creators that we liked because, I never thought Elliot Page would become Elliot Page. And we're going to be using correct pronouns for these people, by the way.
We're really trying to stay on top of it. If I fuck up, it's not my fault. I'm really trying to stay on top of it.
We just don't want to get banned, okay? So don't judge us. We're just trying to be...
We don't hate trans people.
No, we don't.
I love Blair White. She is fucking amazing.
And Buck Angel. And the offensive tranny, Marcus.
They're all amazing.
I love them. Okay?
I really want to get into Demi Lovato. Because I really think she's a person who was subjected to a lot of the social media, a lot of the fame, a lot of the internet. And it would be hard pressed not to say she's, across the spectrum of mental illness. Mentally ill.
100%. And she's an addict, a drug addict. And she was a Disney kid, has been in the limelight for the majority of her life and her formative years. And
listen, I buy that she's bisexual. There was a time when she came out that she was bisexual, which I believed. We all saw that dance with her and what's her
Kehlani,
face?
Right?
Kehlani. Yo, that got my lady dick hard.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. I'm sorry. We all listen. That can be true. That's fine. She's just completely gone off the deep end. She's gone, as we say, into the void.
Yeah, she really has.
Maybe she's trying to come back out with trying to swing back to she, her, but I don't know.
I think it was all just a fad because I think a lot of this non-binary stuff that we've seen is definitely just a trend. And it's like the ice bucket challenge. Like, it's the thing that everyone's fucking doing because it makes them really relevant for a brief point in time. And then it dissipates and then nobody fucking gives a shit about it. Because that's just the culture of the internet. It's like you can literally look at memes for one day and then the next day completely forget about like the memes that you've seen because everything is just constantly refreshing. Everything's new. That's why nobody gives a shit about things that happened 10 years ago unless it's something that is cancelable, whatever that word is. You know what I'm saying?
Able to be canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you got the big brain for words. I don't. But anyway, it really is just the next big thing. And I think with Demi, she has lived in a state of like always trying to appease the customer and always trying to appease the fan. So like the amount of fan acceptance that she gets is her level of relevancy in her career, in her sense of self.
Right.
Like I was talking about this with my friend B on the Instagram. She's at zombie925, I think, on Instagram. We were talking about it today, and she was mentioning how Demi Lovato has no sense of identity and she's so unsure of herself. And so she's just going back and forth. Yeah. And it's like even how she describes being non-binary, like in her last video update or a podcast update or something, where she talked about how she was going back to she, her pronouns. She had said, when I was identifying as non-binary, I would feel like I'm masculine one minute and feminine the next. And so when I would go to like bathrooms or whatever, I just never felt like there was a place for me because I just felt like a human. So that's why I identified with non-binary or something to that effect of like.
Then why is it too big of a deal for you to just say it's the normal for these other people?
Right.
It's normal for these other people to see me go into the female bathroom, so why can't I just do that? It's about the ego.
It is about the ego.
I gotta make it about me. I gotta make it about me going into maybe the men's room. I gotta make it into, why isn't there just a third bathroom just for me? It should just be for myself and my NB fellow folk.
Because it's all about how I feel, and it's like, that doesn't matter, dude.
No.
It really doesn't.
Don't care.
No.
Don't care.
Especially when the world is just you pushed out. That's how it is. You are projections. Everyone is just a projection of yourself. You're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you. And that's how it is. That's just how it is. The things that you don't like about in somebody are the things you don't like about in yourself. That's why you're judgy towards that person. Because you're judgy towards yourself. And I feel
you're saying somewhere in myself is Amanda Nunes?
Yes. She's been really into UFC and fighting videos lately. It's like her new crack.
We'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I think you can do it. That could be your career. But yeah, I just feel like with Demi Lovato, she just really has to feel relevant. And I feel like she could feel really free if she just stopped caring about like how she presented, what her identity was, because that's like the root for all of these people is they have no sense of identity, so they have to create one.
That's the root for all of us.
Yes.
In general. I think we struggle in general as humans to find a sense of identity.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our great journeys in life is to figure out who we are. And I think a lot of us want that to be almost instantaneous, and it's not. Even when you're seriously 100% sure in the moment.
Yeah. Things change. You
cannot falter at all in that moment. You could be steadfast. You could be stoic. You could be sure in your ways. You could have sources. You could have everything. But your mind can change in 10 years.
Yeah.
It will change in 10 years. Fact.
Yeah. The only constant in life is change.
Yes. If you keep your mind open.
Right.
That is. Now, that being said, we know, fucking boomers who have probably kept the same opinions for 40 years, but if you're open-minded and you're willing to have decent conversations with people.
Well, and what makes our generation's experience unique in that is that we've had the internet, and the internet is just the entire fucking world at your fucking fingertips. I mean, it didn't used to always be at our fingertips, of course.
At your fingertips.
Yeah.
As we know it.
Yeah. It's like, so we grew up in that, and we grew up in a time and age where we're all about instant gratification and all about, is somebody going to like my post? If I don't have X amount of likes on my post, then I'm not important enough, or people don't like me.
Did y'all watch that episode of Black Mirror? You know which one I'm talking about.
If you've seen it.
You know which one I'm talking about. We're talking about the one with that redhead bitch.
The social credit score one?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that social credit score actually exists in China.
That's what they want around the whole world. That's what the WEF wants that.
How can we judge people financially? How can we judge people in the real world so that it affects them financially?
Right. They want a caste system. I mean, that's kind of what we are in right now. We have the elites and the poor. They just want a system of
soulless, tired, lifeless husks that just will work all day and all night. That's all they want.
And work specifically for everyone else's approval and like a higher socioeconomic status rather than something purposeful in their individual lives.
And you know how they do that? They erase the identity.
Yep.
So
that's what they've done.
Interesting.
That's what they've done. That's why it's like, I hate the fact that all of this shit's in schools now. Like, I hate the fact that there are literal people who think that the Florida quote unquote don't say gay bill actually meant don't say gay, it didn't fucking specify that at all. It just said that they don't want sexual orientation studies and gender studies taught to kindergartners through the 3rd grade.
Newsflash. I don't want that either.
No sane person fucking wants that, but the left and all these radical people that are part of our community that have hijacked our community are supporting it.
Why do you want to... So, okay, this is a genuine question from a lesbian to everyone else who's criticizing this bill. Why do you want to teach that to K through 3rd grade?
Period.
Because as a lesbian, as someone who's part of that group, I see no point. And furthermore, I didn't even know what sexuality was from K through 3rd.
No.
I figured out I liked girls when I was 14.
Yeah.
When I already knew what all of that was.
When you went through fucking puberty and you were older, but it still shouldn't even be taught in middle school or high school or anything like that.
Why?
Like,
can we talk about sex ed for a sec?
Yeah.
Why is that taught in school? Why is that okay? Why are we bred to think that that's okay in government school? Again, not public, government school. Why is that okay? It's not. I'm not going to want our kids fucking learning from Mrs. Smith or Mr. Jones.
yeah.
How a dick or a vagine works.
It's like one thing to talk about like the biological processes of like puberty or like talk about menstruation in like a very like scientific way where
like
it's not
biology.
inappropriate. Yeah, in a biology class where you're talking about that, but it's another when like they're literally teaching about STDs, how to put condoms on in like the 6th grade, and like all this
how to have sex.
They're putting books in schools that have graphic images of naked body parts, and they're putting that for like elementary age kids and middle school kids.
But you can't read Mark Twain.
No. That's ridiculous. And that's what Gays Against Groomers is against. But for some reason, all the trolls on Twitter are so against Gays Against Groomers, which makes no fucking sense. They think that they're an anti-LGBTQ community, like anti that. Like,
I think anyone who is outwardly against it and is outwardly being like, I'm reporting you. You're just showing who you are. If you're against this group that is obviously just what it says it is.
Yeah.
Which is just Gays Against Groomers. I'm actually surprised about how many people think it's just 100% straight. I'm like...
Which is so stupid.
Guys.
Like, what are you talking about? It's literally only gay and trans people that are a part of this community.
Like, you realize that the founder of it is a...
lesbian woman.
Total lesbo.
Jamie. Jamie, a.k.a. the gay who strayed.
Yeah.
Like, it's baffling to me that there are people within our quote-unquote community that support this kind of crap. And, like, not only support it, but advocate it.
Support it just unjustifiably.
Yeah.
For no reason. And, it's 110% too. It's like it's all or nothing. There's no gray area. Right. Like, there's no middle ground where we can, like, just talk about it. Even on, like, I wish we could just talk about it on, like, a individual basis. Like, can we all talk about how Jessica Yaniv is a piece of shit, awful person?
Terrible.
Like, can we have that amount of gray area where we can agree on some things? Like obvious pedophiles?
No,
in
because
the community?
Nuance is fucking dead, dude.
No.
Nobody cares to, like, hear that.
No. Because if you're not 100% validating, affirming, and uplifting another person's identity, you are now trash, a bigot, a fascist. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're
crazy.
Literally fighting for fascism by claiming that they're against it.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
It's crazy. Anyway.
I don't get it.
We're going off on this tangent, but...
It starts with Demi Lovato. It starts with the...
It starts with the celebrities who are doing this. No, it really does.
Yeah, it does.
So thank you for bringing it back to that, because it really does start with these celebrities who are pioneering this, a.k.a. Caitlyn Jenner. I feel like Caitlyn Jenner, dude, I don't know about, listen, I wasn't around with Stonewall and shit. I wasn't around with like the old OG LGBT folks. But for this runaround, for the millennials, for the Gen Zers, it was Caitlyn Jenner. That was the really big person for LGBT.
That was huge. That was huge. It was fucking everywhere. Crazy. ESPN was covering it. All the news channels.
And on the Kardashians. Like, you've got this huge celebrity Olympian who is now, who's on one of the most watched television shows
in the world, arguably.
For, like, reality TV in the world. And this is just a norm. That's where it became a norm.
Yeah.
For, like, really.
Yeah.
Like, if this Olympian is it, then it must be a lot more people out there who are...
Right. They did use that as the argument of, like, there's probably more of us than you think. And it's like, well...
But there's not.
I don't think so.
I don't feel like there is.
I think a lot of it is a social contagion. It's wanting to feel cool.
Yep.
And it's actually quite sad to see people do this to themselves and make such a mockery out of actual trans people's lives and like what trans people are. Because even Caitlyn Jenner, y'all may not like her, but she's against all of the trans women sports, all of this gender crap. She's against it.
I wonder why. Maybe it was because she was once a he and he was once at the top of the fucking league as an Olympian.
Right.
I wonder why.
He literally... Sorry, I don't mean to misgender. She literally has said that as a fucking Olympian and athlete, men, without a doubt, have biological inherent advantages over women, period. No matter if you're on fucking estrogen or if you cut your dick off. It does not matter. The muscle mass and bone density alone crushes women.
If you've gone through the puberty, you have the advantage.
Exactly.
That is it.
Exactly.
That is it.
And that's where it's really interesting to see her speak out about all this, because she was such a huge fucking player in this gender contagion that we have right now. Because
in this gender hellscape.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see how she speaks out against it. And how a lot of trans people are speaking out against it right now, actually. Contrary to some of the rad femmes that follow me that are really anti-trans, there are real trans people.
Yes.
That are really against this.
You need to shift what your definition or what your perception of trans is.
Right.
I will just say this, if you are a rad femme...
Or anybody...
Or really anyone who is thinking like this, really... We need to start thinking as humans in the gray. We can't be just on one side or the other. It cannot be there's either no trans people or we all have the option of being trans people.
Right.
Like, there are legitimate trans folks who go through real struggles, real gender dysphoria, real hell.
Mm-hmm.
And they deserve a voice. Yeah. They deserve to have a voice in all of this. They deserve to speak up, and especially if they're speaking up with us.
Right.
Like, I see way too many people who think they're on our side or they think they're on the right side just because they're against all of this crazy map, crazy pedophile, crazy groomer stuff going on. But you really attack the wrong people when you say all trans people.
Right. And
you really need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Blair White's not the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Buck Angel's not the enemy. Offensive Tranny is not the enemy. They are all... their views... Talk about, like, if you want to, like, really learn or put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
You need to fucking... They should be the people we should listen to first.
Mm-hmm.
If anything. Like, you don't have to credit them the most, but listen to them at least first. They are, allegedly, even if you don't believe it, they're trans.
Yeah.
They're saying they're trans.
They exist. And that's just like, that's the problem I have with this so much, because I've seen a lot of that lately, even on my page, of just people being like really harsh towards all trans people. Like, all trans people are pedophiles. All trans people are...
All gay people are.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what's going on now,
True.
too.
Yeah. But that's like, I really also can't blame people like that think this way because of the culture that we're in, because what is happening with the left is so fucking insane. It's turning people actually homophobic and actually transphobic. It's making that actually bigger than what it has been in recent years.
Well, we as people need to be better than that.
For sure.
We need to be better than that. We need to, instead of becoming like a pendulum and just swinging back to the other side where we become homophobic and transphobic for real, we need to stop.
Yeah.
That needs to stop.
Yeah. Because not all gay people and not all trans people fucking support this shit.
No.
There are a lot of us that are really fucking angry. And like, I get emotional about it sometimes. I'm not going to cry. But I'm just saying, like, I get emotional by seeing this crap happen because it makes you and me look like we are fucking maniacs. Or that we are going to destroy children's lives.
That any child that we have is not going to be raised in a good family or to enough standards.
Right. That's what pisses me off. Because no matter what, we get lumped into this. We get lumped into this insanity. And I don't want any part of it.
I don't want any part of it.
That's why we started this fucking podcast. That's why we talk about this. Because really, I think the voices that we need are ours, are the gay community and
more
the trans community.
Yeah, we need to step up.
We need to stand against this insanity because it's happening in our community, and that's fucked. I don't want pedophiles to get normalized. That's ridiculous. Over my dead body.
Gat.
Yeah. Over my fucking dead body. That's a hill that I will die on, period. And that's a hill that many trans people would die on too. Because they didn't want this. It makes them look like fucking insane people.
Like Blair White recently had a podcast on with fucking Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
So she's one of the big ones who's going after these pedos. Who's going after these slippery slope folks who really are giving us a bad name.
And she went after Eli Ehrlich, that fucking trans predator who's sending their fucking prescription hormones to trans youth. Blair White went off on Eli Ehrlich. So, that tangent aside, the lesson here is that not all of us are like this.
No.
And that's why we're speaking out against it. And that's why nuance is important for some people that may hate our community or hate trans people because of the insanity that's going on. Not all these insane people are associated with us. Like, we don't want that.
I would like to say probably the majority of us are not like this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are probably afraid to say how they really feel because of just social stigma and, being ostracized in your community. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people have these thoughts.
I think so too. It's like the silent majority thing. Yeah. Like, I really do think that that's true because we have, in addition to all this craziness that we've created, we've also created a culture where you cannot dissent to the narrative because if you do, you will lose everything. You'll lose your friends and family. Yeah, you're a Nazi. You're the worst type of human. So I can't blame people for feeling scared, man.
It's dangerous rhetoric.
Yeah.
We need to stop that. We need to start being human beings towards each other and working with compassion.
Quit taking everything personally. That's the first of the 4 agreements. If you haven't read that, the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Phenomenal book. Changed my life. And the first rule of that is don't take anything personally. Because the things that you do, Lee, are not directed towards me and are not a reflection of how you treat me at all. Like, I don't know how I'm getting off on a tangent.
Everything someone else does, everything you perceive is exactly just that.
Yeah.
It is your perception.
Right.
A person could be screaming in your face and you don't have to react at all.
Yep.
It doesn't need to upset you.
Nope.
Someone not getting your pronouns right. It doesn't need to upset you.
Not at all. Who cares?
The only conversation you need to have in your head, well, I guess they don't care enough. I guess that's on them.
Exactly. That's it.
You know how much stronger of a human being that makes you once you have that conversation? Mm-hmm. It makes you realize you don't need to rely on anyone else but yourself.
Exactly.
No one else.
Yep. You are not owed anything from anybody.
No.
Period. Not even respect.
The quicker that you realize that, the quicker we can move on with this whole thing.
Seriously,
like, that's it. It's really just this generation needing to understand people don't owe you fucking shit.
No.
They don't owe you anything.
They don't.
Like, you need to earn that.
Yeah.
You need to earn respect.
Yeah.
But people don't care. They demand it now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I know we got a little philosophical and spiritual there for a second, but I feel like
if you guys can't tell, we go off on tangents just
do.
A little bit.
Just a tad.
But we're just having fun.
Just a wee bit. But we hope you like it regardless.
Who's the next person though? We got a list of people
we do have
just list. Recently, within probably the last 2-3 years, this phenomenon has taken a hold of and corrupted.
Yeah, I thought we could talk about Elliot Page for a bit because I feel like that was also a really prominent figure.
That was such an L for the community.
It really bummed me out, actually. It bummed me out so hard because I remember I think you had told me.
I did.
And I was so bummed.
Really, listen, guys, you grow up with these certain idols. I grew up with Elliot Page.
As a lesbian icon, dude.
Juno, Whip It, fucking other things. I can't. No, for real. Umbrella Academy. I even liked her in Umbrella Academy. I thought she was cool because she was a lesbian in Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
She was a lesbian in Umbrella Academy.
Lesbian or bisexual, whatever. She was still with a woman.
It was legit. No, it was legit.
Yeah.
And it felt real.
It felt like actual cool representation to have him in like the public eye and to have him be so famous. We're like, that's one of us, man. That's cool. And that's actual representation that's not forced.
He made it feel so organic because it was real. It was real.
Yeah. And then he troons out.
Dude.
That's...
Cuts his tits off.
Dude. Divorces from his wife. And I wonder why.
You know what pissed me off the most? A lot of people, especially on Twitter, when Elliot Page came out as trans, a lot of people were resurfacing old photos of him.
Right.
And I'm just going to say it. These photos to me just looked like a butch lesbian.
He was wearing flannel over a t-shirt. Cargo shorts, long hair.
And or every single person was like, you're telling me this isn't a he at this age? And in my head, I'm just like, what does that make me at that age?
Exactly.
Because I looked exactly like Elliot Page.
Me too. We're just tomboys. They're literally erasing tomboys. And erasing lesbians. Butchy lesbians.
Feels like it.
It's really... that's exactly what it feels like. And I feel like some on the left want to discredit that and be like, oh, not all lesbians are going this way. Or that's so myopic. But no, that's what it feels like. We're literally losing... all of our lesbian icons.
And these are celebrities. I would be hard pressed for anyone listening right now who's part of this community. Go just look at your own community. Maybe even your own friend base. I had friends who were not NB, were not trans, and then became trans.
Yep.
That's just how you've had that too?
I've had exes who have straight up become trans. Ex-girlfriends.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, straight up actually trans.
Yeah.
Cut their tits off and went on testosterone. And it's such a bummer. Because it's I don't want to sit there and invalidate their identity. Because I'm sure maybe a chunk of them, maybe a little bit of them, are actually trans. But I feel like the rest are just feeling that way. Because society is oh, because you're a manly looking woman, you must be trans. That's indicative of being trans. I'm like, that's a gender stereotype. Enforced.
Listen, I think we all came here in the bodies we're in for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think sooner or later, unless it's the folks who have actual gender dysphoria and have a mental illness about it, sooner or later people understand that.
Right.
And they have regret about it. That's why detransitioners are coming out a lot.
They're on the rise, and they're getting censored and ostracized from the own community that trans them out.
For saying something as simple like, I had nightmares that I still had my dick.
Right.
I had dreams where I woke up crying because I didn't have these things anymore.
Yeah.
That I wasn't organically myself anymore.
Right.
That means something, I feel like. It means something to try and be the most of who you are in the body that you have right now.
Yeah.
And to accept that. I can get religious about it, but I'm not religious. I'm not a strict organized religious person, but
yeah, neither of us are.
It's not outlandish to say if you believe in something metaphysical or spiritual, you picked this body for a reason.
Yeah. You're in it for a reason.
And I think the mainstream NBs and trans people right now who are really not trans or non-binary or anything having to do with gender, you just have to have that conversation with yourself. Mm-hmm. And you just really need to see why you don't accept yourself.
Yeah.
Why you don't love yourself enough.
Right.
I'd be interested to see Elliot Page in 10 years.
Well, he just came out the other day.
Fast forward.
Literally saying that he credited the movie I'm a Cheerleader or something. What's it called?
I'm a Cheerleader.
But I'm a Cheerleader.
Seen it.
With his identity. And I have never seen that movie. You have.
So I'm trying to understand this. You're saying he is like identifying with that?
He said that movie like gave birth to his identity.
So
a lesbian movie.
I get no. It's like, what are you implying there? I don't get that, because even then, it's like you're trying to make this very obviously lesbian movie. Seriously, guys, like 2 chicks get married at the end of it. I'm pretty sure. I watched it when I was a teenager.
There's like no straight men in it either.
No, literally none. It's very raunchy.
Yeah,
but how is that? What?
I don't know if it's something of like he's still identifying with that part of himself because he was a lesbian, like because he was, a biological woman still. I mean, he's still a biological woman.
You always will be a lesbian. It's just like how these trans women are always going to be straight men.
Right. But I don't know if it's like because he's trying to co-opt the both identities, like lesbian and trans.
I don't know.
Or if he's missing it. I think he might be missing it. Because to me, the reason why I was so upset with the whole Elliot Page thing when you told me was because I felt like it was so fast. I felt like I didn't see him presenting as a him at all before.
If anything, he looked like he was getting really comfortable with looking like a suited up Butch Dyke.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't know everything that was going on in his life, obviously.
We obviously, right.
But I just get this intrinsic feeling that I don't think he's happy with it. I really don't. Every time I see a picture of him, I'm just like, man, you look fucking depressed and gaunt. Like, I don't know how I would feel if I chopped my tits off. I would feel terrible. I would feel so awful. Yeah. I'm sorry, because I'm not a person that experiences gender dysphoria. I'm a gender non-conforming woman, I guess you could say, because I don't dress girly. I don't wear makeup at all. I wear baggy t-shirts.
Doesn't matter.
But that's what I'm saying is like, I don't experience quote unquote dysphoria. Sometimes I wish I could be a man in some aspects, but it's not like I want to be a man. Like, I think people confuse their inherent masculine and feminine identity or energies that they have within them with gender dysphoria, because we're all inherently masculine and feminine because we come from a man and a woman. We're literally like, it doesn't matter what your biological sex is. You're going to have those aspects of yourself no matter what.
I find it very interesting that in a time where we reached almost the epitome of what we could have wanted, which was no one gave a fuck about labels for like a year or two.
Right.
How did it devolve into, I guess no one cares about labels, therefore I can become a man or a woman when I'm not a man or a woman. Yeah. And therefore now you need to care about this label. Like why? How did it immediately turn into that?
I don't get it.
It felt like such a beautiful age where no one cared what anyone else was.
And people just accepted people for that. Like, we just were... Easily. It was like a mutual respect.
Like high school kids, even.
Yeah.
When we were just in... Like, no one batted an eye.
In my first 2 years of high school, my freshman and sophomore year, I went to this really preppy, rich school in Oregon. And there was a guy in my school. Like, our school was big. We had a graduating class, of like over 900 people or something. It was big. And there was a guy in my school who literally was the most flaming gay man I've ever seen in my life. He wore 10-inch stiletto heels and like a baby romper to school one day because he was doing drag. He was doing drag for like the talent show or something. And nobody batted a fucking eye.
He wanted the advantage in speech and debate.
Yeah, we all knew him as just that. And he was like really cool. He had lots of friends.
Flaming homo.
Yeah, nobody cared. Even the teachers, even the old boomer teachers. And now I know I'm saying this from, I grew up in the PNW. I know it's different up there, but still, like, the old boomer teachers still accepted him. He was even featured on, like, one of our local news channels for some drama thing he was doing. And, like, nobody cared. Nobody cared that he was gay. It wasn't his thing. He just liked performing. He was just eccentric. And then we went from that to, if you are a butch lesbian or a really feminine gay guy, you must be trans.
You're trans and you don't know it.
Right. And then telling gay people and lesbians, if you don't sleep with trans people because of your genital preferences, you're transphobic.
First of all, can we just completely erase the phrase genital preference?
Yeah, that's gross, first of all. And also reductive.
I cried when I saw a dick for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a preference.
Right.
That's a revulsion.
Yeah. Because we're hardwired that way.
Sorry.
Because literally being gay has been seen in studies, like in
other species.
EAGs, yeah. And other species, yeah.
In everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Elliot Page really makes me sad. And I hope that he finds peace within himself and, like, just...
Yeah.
I don't know, gets comfortable.
Yeah. I can't wait to see him in 10 years. We'll see what happens.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know what happens. Like, that's also what's weird, why we stopped watching The Umbrella Academy on Netflix, because, like, it was such a fucking bummer. We watched the first 2 seasons where we're like, oh, this is kind of a fun, cool, sci-fi-y,
something to watch in the off time,
show. And then he becomes trans in the middle of the fucking show. And then the season 3 that just came out, they've changed his whole character.
Victor.
They've changed his whole character to a man.
I'm not into it.
Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see how they're going to put that together, because that just seems so...
No.
I don't know what the word is for it. It just seems not authentic, I guess.
Forced.
Yeah. Forced representation that I'm not into. It's really a shame.
Well, and also, if Elliot Page could play as a woman growing up... and even 2 years ago, why can't Elliot Page still play as a woman in Umbrella Academy?
Why does his character have to immediately change? But the answer to that is the same answer to why was Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin for retweeting Jordan Peterson's tweet. Jordan Peterson had said Ellen Page on Twitter, and he got fucking banned for that. He got banned, and then Dave Rubin, who retweeted the tweet, got banned also. Or suspended or whatever. Yet.
This life is a joke.
Yeah.
You can't say shit out there, y'all.
No, I guess
Don't
you
test
can't.
it. Don't test it unless you're smart and you're anonymous and you can't say shit out there, man.
Or, just take a fucking risk. Because you only have one fucking life here that you know of.
YOLO.
YOLO.
As the great pioneer and philosopher Drake once said.
Oh my God.
You only live once. YOLO. YOLO.
That was so inspirational.
I know. I took it to heart.
Wow. Thank you for giving our listeners...
Stuck with me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's going to stick with our listeners.
She has YOLO tattooed on her lower back. That's a tramp stamp. Could you imagine? Just YOLO with big giant flames on your lower back.
Oh, flames, not in barbed wire.
That's better. Both, actually.
Barbed wire, flames, and butterflies around it.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Anyway, Kristen Stewart better not.
I would be so upset. I would be so upset.
I would like have a funeral.
A funeral for Kristen Stewart.
Dude, she awakened me. She was the first.
She did. You're
she
so
did.
gay.
No, Zathura. Her and Zathura. Yo.
Yeah, you always say that she was your epitome of a dream girl. I do not. Don't give these people false hope of what I look like.
Skinny, like dark hair, brown eyes. That's it. It sticks with you. It sticks with you. And what do you know? 5 years into a marriage, here I am.
God, stop it.
With
well, if we're going to talk about crushes, I could talk about another one that's on this list, which is Cara Delevingne, who, if y'all may not know, we'll put it on our YouTube during this podcast when we have the audio. Cara Delevingne is a model, a British model. She's pretty famous.
She got eyebrows.
She got big ol' eyebrows.
For days.
Yeah. But I used to have a crush on her because she's blonde and cool. Just like Lee.
Just like me with the eyebrows, too.
Yeah. Well, you don't have bushy ones, though, like hers. But still, anyway. I digress. Cara Delevingne. She identifies as bisexual and pansexual, I guess. Let me pull up her Wikipedia page, because I have to read y'all this. It's kind of ridiculous.
Like, why? Why do you have to...
So,
pansexual is just bisexual with extra sex.
This is literally from her Wikipedia page under personal life, and it says, Delevingne openly identifies as bisexual and pansexual. How can you be both?
I feel like in some weird twisted way, they feel like this makes them hotter.
Maybe.
Or like they feel like this makes them like more unique.
Yeah.
Obviously more unique.
Obviously that.
Because that's where they get like their little narcissist jolt, like it's heroin. Someone, she, her.
I feel validated. That's really what it's validation, because that's such a huge compliment.
It's bred into us as humans.
True.
That's all we need. We need social, companions. Mm-hmm. And the way we feel best with that is through validation and the social companions saying, hey, you're right. Hey, this is correct. Mm-hmm. This is valid.
Exactly. But then you're going to laugh at this. It also says on our Wikipedia, in May 2018, Delevingne came out as gender fluid. She uses she, her pronouns.
I feel like we all end up somewhere in gender fluid for these people. I don't know. I was definitely in there somewhere. But we all start off gender fluid, I feel.
What's the point in saying you're gender fluid but then only using she, her pronouns? Like, when you're a woman.
I don't get that.
That makes no fucking sense to me.
That's why I feel like I immediately was not going for the trope of gender fluidity, because I never wanted to go by he,
right.
him. I never wanted that.
Yeah. I would not want that either. No. I've thought about that too. I'm like, back in my teens of like, am I trans? Everyone has that brief thought in their teenage years, especially during this day and age. But I had that thought of like, am I trans? And then immediately the answer was no, because I couldn't handle the idea of anybody calling me a he, him. Because first of all, I don't even look like a he, him at all. At all.
I think it's just normal to go through that thought process anyway. Because
you're questioning
if
yourself.
You're a woman and you're thinking, why do I like pussy?
Right.
You're going to think, am I like a man?
Right.
Why am I lining up with a man with this? But we don't. We really don't.
No, we don't.
We don't. We're just women who like women. We're not men. I have purportedly heard that men will sometimes think about like sex up to 6 times a fucking second. Like it's crazy. Like they'll fucking think about it religiously.
Right.
Women are not like that.
And part of that too has probably gotten worse because of this porn culture that we're in too. Like everyone's so fucking sex obsessed, and there's so much more sexual deviancy, and I hate to say it like
because
that,
it's
but
normalized.
It really is. Like, we need to kink shame people again, man. For real. Like,
we need to gatekeep that.
That fucking shit. Listen, I'm gonna go off on a sidebar. So I used to work at Ben & Jerry's in Seattle, and I used to be the supervisor there. And my fucking bosses were 2 lesbian ladies. One of them was a total fucking dyke. A total dyke. Like, just picture one. That was her, okay? And she literally...
Just the word dyke?
Yeah.
That was just her.
She literally had a wife that she touted. She turned her because this lady used to be married to a man for 20-something years, and then all comes along my boss, and she fucking sweeps her off her feet and makes her divorce her husband and get married to her. So those were my bosses. They were all right. But I became a supervisor there, so then I had to work there alone. Big mistake. And one of these days, on my job, on my shift, there was a guy that came in with his boyfriend or whatever.
Oh my fucking God. I remember this.
Yeah. Okay. And I go to ask him his order, and he turns over to his boyfriend and barks at him. He goes, ruff. And then his boyfriend barks at him back, and he goes, ruff, 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 ruff. And then I fucking look at him. I look at them, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Because, you know, in customer service, you disassociate just to get through the day. And I was like, I had to check back into reality. I'm like, why is this guy barking at him? Like, do they have a dog? I look at them, and they're both wearing collars.
No.
Literal collars. The one that was barking to him said baby dog, and the one that was next to him said daddy dog.
Please stop.
It was so cringe, dude. And like everyone in the store just looked at them and didn't say anything. And I'm sitting there like, is this real life? Like, can I kink shame these guys in public right now? Because this is fucking weird. And I don't want them barking at me at my job.
The NPCs are glitching out.
Oh my God, dude. It was so cringe.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, I don't know why I went off on that sidebar, but I just felt the need to tell you guys because I feel like it just reaffirms the idea that we need to kink shame some people. Like, we need to really...
the shame wizard needs to appear.
Yes. Like, actually, where are these people's shame wizards? They're short-staffed.
The hormone monsters are going crazy.
Dude, it's crazy. I don't want to accept everybody. I don't want to accept everybody in our community just because they're different.
Y'all are a bunch of freaks.
Yeah.
I don't want to accept nobody in general.
Call me a boomer, but like, fuck that.
I don't fuck people.
Yeah.
I'm not into it. If you take my introversion and my general hate for people as a personal attack on you, really?
Get over it.
Isn't that kind of your problem?
Yeah, it is.
Uh-oh. Have I hurt your feelings?
You did. I'm triggered. I'm triggered. Trigger warning. Anyway, who else do we have to talk about? Let's see.
There's too many.
Well,
there's
a lot.
Let's talk about Rebecca Sugar.
Rebecca fucking Sugar.
Just because she's making cartoons about, I mean, looking back on it, trans stuff.
Was
like
Steven
Universe. Yeah, I mean, so now she goes by what? She's non-binary now?
She goes by she, they.
She, okay, whatever. That's fucking fine. Miss Sugar, Miss Caramel, goes by she, they. And she created Steven Universe, which I was, not gonna lie, totally into for a short span of time. Really into, actually, because at one point it had lesbians. It had Ruby and Sapphire.
Right.
Which was dope. And the cool part about it was that you could combine with another gem and become a whole new gem. But it very obviously became political. Woke. And that was lame. Like, I can't even remember where it was, honestly, what season it was or what episode it was, but there was one part where Steven actually can, like, combine with another just normal human chick, and he becomes a she. And they have a whole different name, and it looks like Steven, but it's a chick version of Steven. And it's the whole thing. I mean, honestly, looking back on that whole, I mean, who was it? Garnet? The big black lady.
Yeah.
She was badass with the big
afro.
The big afro. She was cool. And then the really small bird one.
Right.
Like, they were even, I mean, you don't even need to get trans about it. You can just get gay about it. Like, that was, why is that in kids shows? It's just odd. It's very odd. I don't know.
And it's just fitting that the creator of it, Rebecca Sugar, starts going by she, they.
Right.
And this is like literally all of these people have done this within the last 4 years. Like,
right.
Google it. It's besides Caitlyn Jenner, who did this back in like 2012, 2013, all the other people have transitioned or done this with their gender identities in the last 4 years.
My thing is, like, why can't you just keep with, like, simple cartoons like SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Like, Codename Kids Next Door. Like, not these, like, big things of, like, making it about an ideology you need to think about, or these big topics you need to be now accepting of because it's okay, like gay things. I don't know.
Well, dude, there are people that actually sit there and say that SpongeBob is a gay and autistic character.
Well, those are the QAnons of the internet.
The lefties.
What?
These are lefties that are saying that about SpongeBob.
Say it again.
That people are saying SpongeBob himself is gay and autistic. And that's his character. And that's the entirety of the show. That he's actually an autistic gay character.
Okay.
And I'm like, he's a fucking talking sponge.
Obviously, this is a pandemic of people having too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Because that's...
I even saw an article the other day, too, where they were talking about how Lord of the Rings...
Stop, please.
Is actually really queer. I'm like, what? Stop.
Ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Why do we have to artificially inject this crap into everything?
Did you see the new Lord of the Rings that's about to come out?
From Amazon?
Segue. Yo, this is... Didn't they make Gimli a black chick?
They made Gimli the fucking dwarf a black lady.
I can't...
Black lady.
It's not... I'm not dogging on her for being black. I'm just like, dude, Gimli was a short, stocky, fucking redheaded fucking...
Man.
What is...
man. Dwarf man. And like, that's literally the whole lore of dwarves.
Explain what a man is.
Yeah, but they can't even explain what a woman is, so...
Dude. You know what I know, though? I know Gimli's not a woman.
Well, like, if you're going to go woke like that, like, you could have just turned Gimli into a woman. You could have just turned him into a woman dwarf.
No.
But you turned him into a black lady.
You don't even need to go woke with that.
She's not even a dwarf, dude.
Dude, listen.
In the show,
no, like, you don't need to go... Listen, you don't need to go woke with the most beloved... franchise that has ever existed. You don't need to go woke.
Well, but everyone has to see themselves represented in every single thing.
You don't. Not in Lord... No. I'm sorry.
It's Lord of the fucking Rings, dude.
I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
Do you think... Okay. Do you think... do you think I'm represented in Lord of the Rings? Am I supposed to identify with that fucking badass bitch who's like, I am no man?
Oh my god.
Am I supposed to identify with that? Does adding a black character in as a huge pivotal character that's obviously not supposed to be that, does that make the difference you're looking for?
I don't know, man.
I don't see myself in the Lord of the... What is another black person going to see in this? I'm like...
Well, why does race or anything... Why does race or gender have to do with anything in that fucking series?
Are you trying to feel like black people need this? They have the Black Panther. Like, arguably, the best fucking movie ever that was put out.
Was that
by Marvel? Yes.
Yeah, every single fucking
Black
Marvel...
Panther.
Hold on, let me say this hot fucking take. Every single fucking Marvel movie fucking sucks except Black Panther. I don't
She would know.
give a fuck.
I made her watch every
She made
single
me watch
one.
every single one.
We watched them chronologically.
They're all the same. It's all the same.
Like, the jokes are the same, the fucking tropes are the same, the betrayals are the same, everything's the same.
It's all the same.
But you know what was not the same? Black Panther.
Black Panther was fucking baller,
that
dude.
Shit that shit and Ant-Man. But again...
Ant-Man was funny.
But again, Black Panther, though, you guys got a huge motherfucking superhero. Like...
Even then, who the fuck cares about representation? I don't fucking need that. I just want to watch a really cool movie. I just want to watch a cool movie with a cool storyline. Because all the movies that have come out lately have fucking sucked. So bad. So bad. Now they're starting to get a little bit better now. What was that one movie we watched the other day?
The Black Phone.
Yeah, that was really good. That was a good horror movie if y'all are looking for something. The Black Phone. Good. Was it on Amazon Prime? You have to buy it, but it's fucking worth it. It's actually really cool. Anyway, I digress. Why does anybody need representation in anything? I don't give a crap. I mean, I do wish that there were more... Like, that there were better lesbian shows or lesbian movies, because a lot of lesbian movies are kind of cheesy and kind of lame, except for, like, the L Word. That was really cool.
And the real L Word.
And the real L Word was really cool.
Why can't we have more of that?
I want more of that, man.
That was like softcore porn.
Speaking of fucking shows, it was. But speaking of fucking shows, there's actually 2 other creators on this list that I made that have also transed out. Like, I've never seen this show, but a follower told me about the She-Ra creator. I guess it's an animated show. And
is that on Netflix?
I think so. But the creator of it used to go by used to be Noel Stevenson, and now goes by Nate Stevenson. Kept his middle name as Diana, so his name is Nate Diana Stevenson. Let me just read you this Wikipedia page too, because it's kind of wild how much this person has changed their mind about things and how quickly they have done it. So let me just read these 2 paragraphs from their Wikipedia page. Again, this is Nate Diana Stevenson, the She-Ra creator. In July 2020, Stevenson announced that he was non-binary or something like it, and uses any personal pronouns. Okay. In November 2020, Stevenson published a comic about his top surgery. So in 4 months from coming out as non-binary, gets top surgery. And then on March 31st, 2021, which is the International Transgender Day of Visibility, Stevenson stated that he is trans, masculine, and bigender.
No.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Disagree.
And then I guess on October 11th, 2020, so we're going back in time a little bit, National Coming Out Day, Stevenson wrote and illustrated his coming out story for Oprah magazine. He described his journey to self-acceptance as his, quote, battle against the gender essentialism of his evangelical upbringing, and stated that he had become an atheist by age 23. And then the next fucking paragraph, and this is like the explanation for everything. So reminder, July 2020 comes out as non-binary. So in August 2020 interview, Stevenson stated that he is bipolar. In February 2021, he mentioned having ADHD in an interview and its impact of his work and life during the COVID pandemic.
Snore.
And so I'm just like, obviously you have some issues going on. You have some mental stuff going on. And you're obviously going through like some kind of identity crisis. But the very short time span between coming out as non-binary and then getting fucking top surgery is egregious and unethical. As you and I work in the medical field, and we've worked in the medical field for...
as long as we've been working, pretty much.
Yeah. 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I think I've been in it for 7 years. But we've been doing this for a long time, and it's unethical to me that these people are able to be given surgeries, gender-affirming care, within a very short amount of time. Because it used to be, like Buck Angel had to live as the opposite sex for a year without any hormones and without any surgeries.
Buck Angel, talk to us.
And then he had to find a doctor in the country that would be willing to fucking do the surgery on him because he wanted top surgery. This was back in the day when you had trans being defined as an actual mental disorder. You had to get full-on psychologically tested. You had to go to mandatory counseling, mandatory therapy. You had to live as the opposite gender, sex, whatever, for a year before they would even give you hormones, before they would give you any kind of medicalization or body transformation. Like, period. And now they've done away with all of that. Like,
affirm wasn't even in the vocabulary back then.
It wasn't. It wasn't. They had said that transitioning was not a cure, but basically a treatment for gender dysphoria in people who have been through therapy, have lived through this, who literally cannot get rid of these feelings. That was what transition used to be. And now the radical trans activists would like to make you think that it's not this quick, but it is this quick. Now people can get it done within a few months.
Yep.
Sometimes same
underage.
Day. Sometimes same day they can get their hormones from one like telehealth visit. For 15 minutes they can get put on testosterone, which is like a Schedule III drug or something like that. You can literally go to jail as a man for doping on testosterone, but we can give it to women who say that they feel a certain way. Insane. And I don't know much about this creator. Like I said, I don't watch the show or anything, but I just find it really concerning that he has made such a drastic shift. Because, like, if you look him up, he doesn't necessarily look like he would be trans. He looks confused to me. That's just my intrinsic thought with it.
Well, you were with someone who was confused. You were with a couple people who were confused.
I was,
You've
actually.
seen it.
Yeah. And I think they're still confused. Like, I don't keep tabs on them because I don't care. But
I think the majority are confused.
I think
that's a hard truth, a hard pill to swallow. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You just have to show yourself compassion.
You really do.
You don't have to be so rigorous with the pronouns, y'all.
No, who cares?
When I say pronouns, I mean like just the whole thing too. It doesn't have to just be the pronouns. It can be like the name,
the identity.
It can be the identity. It can be, everything having to do with the ego. Yep.
But I mean, like, even Sarah Ramirez, she plays the lesbian doctor on Grey's Anatomy, the one with the dark brown hair. Yes.
What's her face?
Apparently, she chopped her hair off and now goes by non-binary now. And I looked up all these people, and there's a lot of people. Like, if you just Google, like, celebrities who have come out as non-binary and trans, there are so many lists online of these people. And a lot of them I don't know all the names of, and I don't know where they're from or whatever. But I was surprised to see her name on it.
That's a bummer.
Their name, because they're they, them. Non-binary. Whatever.
That's
what
a
is
bummer.
that?
That's a bummer.
I know.
That's what that is.
Yeah. It's a huge
Another
bummer.
one bites the dust.
So lame.
That sucks.
Super lame. And then Sam Smith, too. He's a singer. Goes by they, them also. They, so fucking stupid. They were one of the first people that came out as they, them. Because it was him, them.
I remember that.
It was them first. And then
that.
Demi Lovato after.
Demi Lovato.
That came out as non-binary. Like, why? And these people have hundreds of millions of followers and hundreds of millions of fans.
Why? To feel special.
It's the same thing. They did this before the 2020 election, and during COVID, they had all these celebrities, like, pushing all of the mandates, pushing the that shall not be named. I don't want to get censored. You know what I'm talking about? The little needles. They were pushing those. The celebrities. And they were doing that before 2020 when they were like, make sure everyone votes. Make sure you vote to save our democracy from the evil Trump dictator. It's so ridiculous. And it's just to, like, push an agenda and just to push this huge, profitable business, which is, quote unquote, gender affirming care.
Oh, yeah. How much money do those doctors make off of each surgery? Oh, just think about that.
So much, dude. Like thousands.
And it's such a primitive surgery.
Yeah.
You can't... It's not like an appendectomy that we've been doing for hundreds of years.
Getting your appendix removed for those that are not in the medical field.
No, but like there's some things that we are mastered with. Like we have a masterful grip of.
Yeah.
And there's some things we don't know dick about. And
literally,
that's no pun intended. For real though, like that's one of the things we don't know anything about, and
we really
it's just. I feel really bad for the people who are just being sold this false bill of goods,
right?
And being told that you're going to become a woman or you're going to become a man, and you're going to have this real dick or you're going to have this real puss.
Yeah.
You're going to have this real vagine.
Right.
And it's just, people will take, they will take self-acceptance wherever they will get it.
Right.
That's what I think it comes down to. And I think it's very easy when it's profitable.
For sure. And Big Pharma is arguably one of the biggest, most profitable entities
in the world.
In the world, man. Especially in the United States. It's like with us, when we're at work, how many fucking patients do we see a day that are on like over 20 different medications? Like, and I'm not exaggerating by over 20. That's like a legit thing. People are in the medical field. Like this business, especially after COVID. And I'm not saying for any reason or another, COVID people didn't go to their annual screenings. They didn't go for the regular checkups. People were putting their actual health on hold because they were so afraid to go out because of this pandemic. And so now what we're seeing in the medical field is so many more people diagnosed with cancer, so many people diagnosed with disorders because they put off their health. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing this medicalization of trans people. We've seen more and more trans patients at our work because they're just being pushed through this medical system and big pharma.
No questions asked.
They're put on hormones. Like, once you go on hormones, you are literally a patient for life. You can't stop taking the hormones because your body's going to get fucked up, and your body needs hormones to survive. Period. So once they go on hormones, they're a patient for life. Doesn't matter if they get bottom surgery or top surgery or anything. They have to be on hormones.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
You already got them.
I mean, I'm not saying that, like, for some people who have started hormones and then gotten off of them after like a year or two, because it's one thing if you're taking it short term, but it's another when a lot of these people are taking them long term.
Even then, studies are coming out of showing how it does irreparable damage to the body. Mm-hmm. That's just a fact.
And that's why there are a lot of detransitioners, because a lot of them were not told of any of these consequences.
No, they weren't.
That is so unethical.
And that's what I'm saying when I say a false bill of goods. Mm-hmm. Like, they're straight... these people are being lied to. The mass public is being lied to.
Yeah.
And no one is speaking out about it. And like, it's disheartening.
Yeah.
It's just disheartening, especially seeing this happen to kids now.
Yeah, like Jazz fucking Jennings.
This is really, yeah. And seeing like even celebrities went back when they were kids being researched, like Elliot Page. Right. And like, you know, Bruce Jenner.
Yeah.
Bruce Jenner, I don't know, just like that kind of stuff. I don't know.
It's really sad to see. It's sad to see so many people be so misguided, because like in the medical field, when you're in it long enough, you realize that a lot of people like don't have a lot of knowledge with their own health, because we're not taught it. We're not taught it in schools. No. We're not taught how to take care of ourselves. We're not taught about all of these things that can happen to us from the food that we eat or the things that we smoke or whatever. And so then people reap the consequences of their actions, and you see it time and time again in the medical field.
You're really going to see it hard with the hormones.
Oh, bad. And the surgeries too.
Man, the worst is yet to come with this, because I'm just imagining the kids who are going to be on this because I mean, some of them are 4 years old now, who I guess their parents are just completely accepting of them being trans, and who knows what they're going to look like in 20 years if they're on hormones from 4 years old, puberty blockers from 5 years old.
That we have like no studies or no science that would indicate that this is a good thing for children to be on. Yeah. And for like even adults, because Shapeshifter is a detransitioner that transitioned fully from male to female, had the bottom surgery, had the top surgery. When he had the bottom surgery, and I say he because he goes by he now, even though he presents kind of like a woman.
That's not a crime.
No, it's not. He's a gender non-conforming man, like Jeffree Star. Anyway, he had the bottom surgery, and he talked about it on Blair White's podcast. Actually, you can go on her
amazing episode.
YouTube channel. Yeah. It's on the Blair White Project on YouTube, and she did a podcast with them, and he talked about how he's had to have 7 surgeries, 7 bottom surgeries. He has
the majority of them are corrective.
Yeah. He's had a bunch of infections. He's had a lot of issues. He has had to have a bunch of revisions. He can't even feel anything down there. It hurts to urinate.
It's traumatic to think about sex.
Yeah.
Just that's the real travesty out of all of this.
Right.
Think about that for a second. You don't have any feeling down there.
At all.
At all.
And it hurts.
You were told you're going to have 7 inches.
Of a vagina,
That's
of a cervix.
So amazing. You should feel really proud about that. That should be really exciting to you. Manipulation.
Totally.
It's insidious.
It's really, really terrible to sit there and tell people that by getting this surgery, it's going to be exactly like the opposite sex.
Doesn't exist.
It
doesn't exist.
We don't have the technology to do that. We're literally just experimenting right now. Truly.
You could put a uterus in a man and it would not be the same. None of it would ever be the same. You're never going to become a real woman. Just like they're never going to be, like, it's never going to happen.
Well, it's like in India, they had a patient that was the first one in India. And I don't know if it was the first one in the world or what, but it was a male patient, trans, that got a uterine transplant, and they put a fertilized egg in there. And
let me guess, they died.
Yeah, they did. It was after like 2 months.
Yikes. I don't mean to laugh at that, but I'm just saying, like,
that's what happens because the male body biologically is not able to do that.
No, it repels it.
Period. Yeah, it's like an organ. You're literally doing an organ transplant and it's fucking repelling it.
Speaking of periods, can we talk about the trans women who think that they get periods?
Menstrual cycles because they're put on estrogen because they fucking think.
We both put our fucking hands on the mic.
On the microphones, all intent. They fucking think that a period is just a hormone cycle of just estrogen and progesterone. That's it. And if you get put on synthetic estradiol and progesterone, then you can have all the same experiences without the menstruation.
I wonder how hard a bitch with endometriosis punches.
We have a friend who has endometriosis, and she would fucking go off on somebody. Legit.
Yeah.
She would. That's so beyond
disrespectful,
insulting and disrespectful to actual women. And that's what we talk about.
There's nothing special about your period. I have it too. God. Don't you know? I'm bleeding right now. I have an actual gash. I have an actual vagina.
I just shared something on my story the other day. It was a collage of articles that were talking about how breastfeeding, we shouldn't call it natural because that's stigmatizing. Yep. We shouldn't. Breastfeeding is not considered to be natural because that's offensive. And that's stigmatizing breastfeeding. And stigmatizes gender nonconforming parents or non-birthing parents. Really?
Go live in your Mad Max world, dude.
Dude.
I don't want any part of this. This is just becoming too... This is like...
It's a lot.
It's when people have nothing to worry about, they create their own problems. Mm-hmm. Like they create their own furious reactions. And they just have to manufacture their own drama.
They get mad at
You're
fucking
really
everything.
off at breastfeeding?
Breastfeeding being called natural. That's what they were pissed off about. Because it was stigmatizing to other gender people. It's like, but only women can breastfeed.
Suck my dongle. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a... Dude, these are just people who have not been hit in the face hard enough.
Bullied.
That's what I think. Honestly. No, like, listen, there's a type of air that you get from being bullied.
You were bullied.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, if you've never been punched in the face, if you've never been fucking put in your place, this is how you act.
That's what it is. Like, these people have never been put in their place. They're just allowed to be entitled.
And when I'm saying that, I don't mean like they deserve to be put in their place, but I'm just saying like the world hasn't hit them yet. Yeah. Like, you're not understanding that there are really fucked up parts of life, including the majority of people don't give two living fucks about you.
Seriously, dude.
They don't care. And they're not obligated to care.
No, they're not.
And that shouldn't matter to you. But
it comes from the erasure of women. And, like, this is what we talk about. This is what J.K. Rowling advocates for, and Posey Parker, and all the rad femmes that are gender critical. They advocate. They're like, this is literally female erasure by trans women beating women in sports. And everyone just being like, oh, that's fine. Biology doesn't play a part in that.
Oh, it's cool. These beta males who suck at literally every other sport, they can just join the female sport and beat the women who have been competing their whole entire lives for this.
Beating them, or Fallon Fox fucking destroying.
That just makes me want like a roided up bitch to just go up to one of those like beta males and just beat the shit out of them.
That would be awesome. I'd pay to see that.
Like, I mean...
On behalf of all women who are pissed off on this shit.
Yeah. Just like an MMA fighter or some shit like that. Like, you step into the ring with her, she's roided out to filth. You got this beta male who's like ranked 400th.
Seriously. That's so ridiculous to me. Or like the trans women that insist that they need to be in female-only spaces because otherwise, if we don't allow them in female-only spaces, then we don't see them as women.
Why is it important to you? Well, because I need to be seen as a woman. Why? Because it's really important to me.
But you're a trans woman, though.
Calm down.
You're a trans woman. What is wrong with saying you're a trans woman? Isn't that the whole point of your fucking identity is to be trans? If you're so insistent that you have to be akin to biological females, then just call yourself a biological female then. Because otherwise...
because then they would have to back that up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't.
But they can back up being trans because being trans is a feeling. It's all just insane. And there are so many of these people that are falling victim to this ideology and
it really is
transing.
falling victim too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was part of it.
You were, yeah.
I really thought I was gender fluid. I really thought I was agender. Mm-hmm. I really thought I was XYZ.
Yep.
Because social media told me that I was, and all my friends were too validating on it. They were too affirming. Nothing on their part, just...
That's the culture we're in, because we don't want to be mean to anybody.
Nope.
We don't want to put anybody in their place.
Listen, man, sometimes someone's got to knock you on your ass, and you got to be stronger from that, you know?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Oh, la, la, la.
Encore. Wow. Bravo. Performance of a lifetime. Wow. Well, anyway, we could go on about this topic for hours.
And we probably will in another episode.
We probably will, because there's a lot of these people. Continue. But we probably will talk about this in later episodes, because it's something that affects us. It affects our community. It affects women and lesbians. And we're not happy about it, so...
No. And we just want to talk about it, man.
Yeah.
Talking about shit is not illegal.
Exactly.
Talking about it's not illegal. We're just sharing our opinions, our opinions.
We're independent, free-thinking women.
INDEPENDENT. That's what I think of when you say that word.
Well, yeah, it's the only way I know how to spell that word is because of that song.
Listen, y'all, it's been great talking with y'all. DM us if you want to talk to us, if you want to share some topics.
Subscribe to all of our stuff. Follow us.
Subscribe to the twats, to the Instagrams, to
our YouTube.
Everything. Just subscribe.
Well, thank y'all for hanging out with us, laughing with us, and listening to our ranting. We hope y'all enjoyed. Please make sure you like, comment, DM, follow, subscribe. I'll put all of our socials in the descriptions, and we will see you on the next episode of the Based Lesbian Podcast. Peace out!